Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Women's World Cup Nike Mercurial Superfly 4. Now inside the box, you do get a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves. The string bag is Volt Yellow in color with black strings. You're going to find a black Nike swoosh on one side and your black Nike football branding on the other. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at the Women's World Cup colorway of the Nike Mercurial Superfly 4. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably going to ask, why didn't I do this video a long time ago? The Women's World Cup is now over and I'm bringing you a Women's World Cup shoe review. The reasoning for that is because these things have been on pre-order basically up until just a couple days ago. So they are finally available, and if you are interested in a pair, first link down below in the description, and it'll take you to the review page on my website, where we will be able to pick these guys up below their normal $275 retail price, although they are in fairly limited quantity. So if you want them, I suggest getting them right away. But basically what we're gonna be talking about in today's video is the tech specs. Of course, this is a Women's World Cup colorway, which means that they are technically women's sizing as well. I'm gonna explain how that works and how you can actually wear these things if you are a guy, because while it's a women's colorway, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't wear it. It's definitely one of the more unique colorways of the Superfly 4. Some might even argue one of the better colorways of the Superfly 4. So we're going to talk about fit and feel in today's video, as well as take a closer look at the colorway itself. So if you're interested in learning more about the Women's World Cup Superfly 4, please stick around and watch the entire video. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. All right, so here is a look at the Women's Superfly 4s on feet. The reason why I'm starting the video like this is to explain how women's sizing works. Now, normally in the Superfly 4, I wear a men's size 9 US. Now with the Women's World Cup pack in general, not just the Superfly 4, you may have seen my other videos on the pack. All that's different with these shoes is the sizing, the construction, the shape, the fit. Nothing else is different. The only thing that you have to convert is women's to men's sizing if you're a guy that actually wants to wear these. So normally I'd wear a size 9 US men's like I just mentioned. In order to wear this shoe in women's and have the exact same fit, all you have to do is go up 1.5 sizes. So instead of a 9 US, I wear a 10.5 US women's, and that is the equivalent of a 9 US men's, a difference of 1.5 US sizes. So again, if you are looking to buy a pair of the Women's World Cup shoes and you don't know what size to get, all you have to do is take the size you're wearing in the current Nike model or the men's equivalent of that Nike model and go up 1.5 sizes and you'll have the exact same fit. Again, they're not women's fit, they're not more narrow, they're not any different in shape whatsoever. It's the exact same construction, the exact same shoe, just different sizing and a different color on the outside. So in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they feel like a regular pair of Superfly 4s. It's got a tighter fit as you would expect from any Mercurial model, so really no extra space on the inside of the shoe whatsoever. But with that being said, they're going to be suitable for a lot of people. They're not specifically for extremely narrow feet. As long as you don't normally struggle with shoes being too tight, you shouldn't have any issues with the Superfly 4. But if you do have wider feet, probably not the best option for you, especially considering these things aren't going to stretch very much at all. I already explained the sizing. As far as the dynamic fit collar is concerned, I know a lot of people ask about that. If you've worn it in the past, it's going to feel pretty much the same on the Superfly 4 or the Magista Obra. The Hypervenom dynamic fit collar is a little bit different than the two that I just mentioned, but still quite similar if I'm completely honest. It takes some getting used to, but certainly doesn't get in the way, doesn't feel restrictive or anything like that. And it just creates a nice seamless sensation where it feels like the shoe flows onto your foot as opposed to something that is strapped to your foot. So overall, very comfortable shoe. Does take some getting used to, but once you do get used to them, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. And again, the women's version of the Superfly 4 is no different in comparison to the men's version, other than the sizing and the color. In regards to the laces, on my left foot, I have the stock neon yellow or Volt Yellow laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of neon yellow with black dots SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, be sure to check out the website www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. In terms of tech specs, like I just mentioned, this is exactly the same as the men's version of the Superfly 4. aside from the sizing and of course this specific colorway. So it's still a Flyknit construction for the upper. It's very thin, it's soft, it's flexible, and it really does provide a sock-like sensation on your foot. So you have a more kind of constructed, more dense Flyknit material running through the majority of the foot. All the parts that are covered in that Blue Lagoon Nike skin covering. On the inside, you are also going to find a fused on support cage that adds extra structure to the upper that it does require in order to maintain a nice kind of responsive, secure sensation on your foot. Along with the actual Flyknit as well as the internal support cage, it does have Brio cables as well that kind of act as reinforcement cables running from the base of the sole into the lacing system. So they're attached to every single lace hole. So when you do pull the laces tight, it pulls on those cables and again keeps your foot secure and locked in place. It's thin, it's flexible, definitely going to provide more of a barefoot sensation, although not quite as thin as what you're going to find from the Vapor 10. It does have a very, very slight amount of padding because of the Flyknit material it's made out of, and of course the upper is finished off with ACC all conditions control as well. You can see the branding right there, acting as your wet control element. Now all the parts of the Flyknit upper that are made from this Volt yellow color, or that have the Volt yellow color, is actually an elasticated variety of Flyknit that is actually stretchy as opposed to being firmer. So this elasticated section through the middle allows you to slide your foot inside a little bit more easily, and it actually expands the middle of the shoe, gives you this nice seamless sensation, so there's no overlapping material going across the top of your foot, which is really, really nice. And then of course you do have the mid-cut design in the form of the dynamic fit collar that a lot of people kind of mistake as an ankle support system. There's no structure to this, there's no support to be had from this thing. There's not actually any performance benefits at all to the mid-cut design of this shoe. The reason why it's mid-cut is, one, to provide a certain type of feel, and this is really the biggest reason. When you wear this shoe, because of the collar wrapping your ankle fairly snug, it does give you this kind of sensation of the shoe flowing onto your foot as opposed to being something that's strapped to your foot. It feels a little bit more natural. That's the idea behind it. Other than that though, there's really no performance benefit. It's thin, it's elasticated, it's comfortable to wear. It'll feel a little bit strange at first, but nothing that you shouldn't be able to get used to over a couple hours of use. And it's not bulky or anything like that. It's not something you're going to notice while you're actually playing and get in the way if that's something that you were concerned with. Now, the heel does feature an internal plastic heel counter, so it is solid at the back, as you're going to find from most soccer shoes. Inside the shoe, there is a heel liner that's a smooth synthetic leather material with some decent padding considering how thin the shoe actually is. It does have a removable insole, same insole you're going to find on a regular pair of Superfly 4s, mesh liner on top, perforations throughout, and it's made from a single layer of this gray foam, nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, this does of course have a carbon fiber sole plate. Again, like you're going to find on the men's version of the Superfly 4. In all honesty, it doesn't really feel any difference from the sole plate that you're going to find on the Vapor 10, despite looking a lot more premium and just a lot cooler in general because of that carbon fiber appearance. But for the most part, it's thin, it's low profile, fairly flexible, and doesn't have any issues with stud pressure, so there's not too much to complain about here whatsoever. I've seen some people have issues with the sole plate cracking, but that is few and far between, so that's not something that you should be too worried about if you are planning on picking up a pair of Superfly 4s. Like I said, it doesn't happen very often. It certainly never happened to me, and you shouldn't expect it to happen to your pair either. If something does go wrong, Nike offers a good warranty program, and they should be able to replace them for you, no questions asked. As far as the stud pattern is concerned, this is their Mercurial stud pattern, firm ground variation. I believe that's the only variation you can get in this particular colorway. All bladed studs, as you guys can see, nothing too uncommon as far as Mercurials go. Very aggressive in terms of the amount of bite that you get when pushing off in pretty much any direction. And if you're just looking for great multi-directional traction in general, the Mercurial line is pretty well known for that particular characteristic, and it definitely carries over in terms of top-notch performance on the Superfly 4 as well. So if you've worn Mercurials in the past, like the traction that you got for them, or you're just looking for something that's very aggressive and provides plenty of bite on firm natural grass, you shouldn't have any issues with any of the current Mercurial models and the stud patterns that they have on offer. In regards to weight, I thought we'd compare the men's and women's version of the Superfly 4 just so we can see that there's really no difference between the two at all. So I'm going to weigh both shoes for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind that they're both in brand new condition. The gray pair is a men's size 9 US, whereas the blue pair is a women's size 10.5 US, which is technically the exact same size. So we'll start off with the gray pair, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 6.95 ounces, the equivalent of 197 grams. So change the unit on the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and throw on the blue Women's Superfly 4, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.05 ounces, the equivalent of 200 grams. So you're gonna notice a 3-gram weight difference between these two shoes. With the blue pair, the Women's Superfly 4 weighing ever so slightly more. Is this notable? Not really. You're gonna find very minor fluctuation going from colorway to colorway. That's just normal for any product that is mass produced. If I had 10 pairs of this exact Superfly 4 in the exact same size, I guarantee you that there would be weight fluctuation from one pair to another. Very minor weight fluctuation, but that, like I said, is to be expected with any shoe that is mass produced. So whether you're buying the men's or women's variation of the Superfly 4, just know that while the sizing is different, as long as you get the equivalent size in the women's version when compared to the men's version, the weight is going to be absolutely identical. Just to quickly touch on the colorway, this Women's World Cup Superfly 4 is pretty wild looking. I would say that it matches the CR7 Silverwear colorway in terms of just being extremely shiny. What's great about this particular colorway in comparison to the CR7 Silverwear one is while it doesn't have that same sparkly effect, it still is very, very shiny in this blue lagoon color, and the shine isn't actually going to wear away. It's just part of that Nike skin covering. There's no actual glitter on the shoe, so the finish is that of a standard pair of Superfly 4s. So you have that very shiny blue lagoon color across the entire upper, the white Nike swoosh with the black outline on both the front and rear of the shoe. You have the Volt yellow in the laces, as well as the Flyknit running through the middle in the Dynamic Fit collar as well, with that black mid-layer material, your black Mercurial branding on the back, as well as the black ring across the top of the collar. And then of course the sole plate is also taken from the CR7 Superfly 4s, having that blue tint to it, which really does look cool in the form of a carbon fiber sole plate. And then of course the tips of the studs, some of them are black and others are neon yellow or Volt yellow in color. So overall, really, really good looking shoe. If you're looking for something that's extremely bright and just really unique in general, I think that this is definitely one of those colorways to go for. In regards to this being a women's colorway and wearing it if you're a guy, if you guys just watched the weigh-in portion of the video, you saw me weigh in a gray and pink shoe side by side with these. And I think that if you were to ask somebody who didn't know about soccer shoes at all, which of the two was the women's colorway, I would guess that 9 out of 10 people would guess that the gray and pink one was the women's variation. So I don't think there's really too much shame in wearing a pair of women's shoes, especially if you like the look of this particular colorway. There's nothing that, like I said, is girly about it in any way. And overall, if you want something unique, definitely one of those colorways to consider. Not my personal favorite, but definitely one that I know a lot of people like the look of. And like I said, if you like how it looks, go ahead and pick them up. There's nothing wrong with wearing them whatsoever. So that's pretty much it as far as what these things look like. If you have any opinions of your own, leave them down below in the comment section. I'd be curious to hear those. And with that being said, I'll leave you to my final thoughts. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Women's World Cup Superfly 4. Again, if you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find a detailed written review that goes over everything you could possibly want to know about this shoe. You're gonna find high quality images that I took myself that'll give you a better idea as to how these things actually do look in person. And you'll also find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $275 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding the Women's World Cup Superfly 4, leave them down below in the comment section, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.